Sir?
Good morning. Bruce Kirkland from the Toronto Sun. This sort of leads out of what's been discussed so far, and I'd love to hear from Andrew and Brad specifically, but anyone else who wants to jump into this, about using genre and a simple story, as you called it, and layering it in with all these political things and ending it with a very blunt political statement, which is America's not a country, it's a business, and you almost said, show me the money, but something close to that. So let's talk about using genre pictures to actually say something important and provocative and funny and a little crazy.
I'm going to leave that to you.
Well, it was kind of the idea. You just, said it in a nutshell. That was it, right?
More of a nutshell.
Huh? More?
Brad, if you produced this, do you have ideas about why you want to actually have a genre picture that has more layers than just the, the action and the crazy comedy and the characters?
I think if we look back on our favorite films, that's always happening. There's always something going on underneath that is not necessarily in your face. And it was an interesting way to look at the financial crisis instead of going just straight to the financial crisis. But after that we jumped into a zombie film, and we're trying to do the same thing there. And historically, those films do the exact same thing. But other than that, I put trust in him.
The reason that fairy tales work is because they couch all the concerns in terms of a fantasy, and so maybe in a genre film, it's like a spoonful of sugar. It's one step removed, so you can enjoy it without having to really think about it, and it can go in or not depending on how much attention the viewer is paying. But Jesse James is kind of like a Leonard Cohen song or something, and I wanted to do something that's more like a pop song,
Question here, and then the lady there, and the lady, then the gentleman, then the gentleman.
Farah Nayeri from Bloomberg News. I had a question for Brad. Could you speak a little bit about your character? I realize that the director was saying screwball comedy and they're kind of types, but I would love you to talk a little bit about him, because what makes him tick beside money? I mean, he's got this woman, she says, zip my dress up, and he won't touch her. I mean, who is he?
Well, he didn't have that woman. Gandolfini's character did. And for that moment,
he's also the only character that's not concerned with women.
Yeah, that was a distraction to the moment, to the business, the problem at hand, and not to be deterred. Well, I think Andrew did really well in the beginning when he was saying that he's wanting to get the job done, put people through his least pain, that there's actually a humanity there to make it as comfortable as you can for the person that's got to go. This is just an unfortunate part of our business, but it's got to be cutthroat, and that's the way it is, and the person's got to go. I equate that to business. Business can be very, very cutthroat in that way, and we all accept the terms, and people get fired, people make bad bets, and sometimes we get metaphorically killed.
Not him, but the rest of us.
Dominic, Martin Scorsese. How much did Martin Scorsese's films sort of influence you? I mean, Mr. Liotta's here, etc.
Oh well, I love Martin Scorsese. I mean, everyone does, right? He's great.
Go ahead.
Chaz Ebert of RogerEbert.com. The first question is for Andrew, and then one for Brad. How has the video game violence influenced your style in shooting? That especially the first very stylized shooting of the car and the head and the window, the video game. That's my question one.
The video game?
How have video games influenced how you
We shoot by-
shoot violence.
Do you know what? I really don't like video games. My son, Jesse, is obsessed with video games, but I really can't get into them. I did like Doom, which I played for a weekend once back in, 95, but not really much at all.
And your second question?
And the second question is, I don't know whether the words that I know that you like architecture, and I don't know whether the words that your character spoke in the movie about Jefferson and his slave were words that were specifically in the book, or if there was a little improvisation of it, but Monticello is quite an architectural achievement, but have you also visited the slave quarters to see the architecture there?
I've never visited any besides D.C. But I don't know his home. I've only read about it. But no, that was not improv. That was as written. And I just want to say about the violence. It doesn't. I don't know. We live in such a violent world, and I certainly grew up hunting, which is a very violent act. If you've ever had a hamburger, have you seen how they butcher a cow? It's barbaric. It's horrendous. It's very violent. This is the world we live in. So I see it absolutely important to film. Is it how it's shot? Is it memorialized or grandized in any way, or romanticized? I think that's a fair question. But other than that, I don't see a world without it.
It's a lullaby, That's the idea. It's a lullaby. That sequence.